Once Mehmet II took over Constantinople and put his own puppet patriarch, that was the beginning of Turkey's effort to control the Eastern Orthodox world. And that willingness, that effort, that agenda to control the Eastern Orthodox Church is still alive today. Hello, everybody. Hope you guys are having a good day or good evening, depending on wherever you guys are. I want to talk to you guys about a subject that I know you love. I keep talking about this subject. I've been talking about this for a long time. Turkey. Turkey is in a very, very interesting position. It is the motherland of the Ottoman Empire that doesn't exist anymore, but it wants to revive this Ottoman Empire. And that potential for empire is most definitely there. Turkey, as I have said numerous times, is the second most armed country in the NATO alliance. And what we are currently seeing is the rise of two historical enemies. Turkey on one side, Russia on the other. And what is fascinating is how these two countries are maintaining some sense of diplomacy, while at the same time they are both showing their muscle. They are flexing against each other. They have killed each other's soldiers in some situations, and they are showing their fangs. So they are portraying this sense, they are portraying this facade that they are friends. At the same time, they are showing that they are enemies. Turkey's willingness to get close to Russia has been enraging NATO. I think one event that really, really underlined this, that really showed this, was Turkey's nonchalant willingness to ignore NATO's demands that Turkey not purchase the S-400 missile system from Russia. And America said, Turkey, if you buy this weaponry from Russia, we're not going to sell you F-16s, blah, 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 blah. Turkey didn't care. Turkey basically flipped the bird to the Americans and did what it wanted. When Russia invaded Ukraine, Ukraine began to pressure Turkey to close the straits to Russia. Turkey has this very distinct control over the straits of the Dardanelles and the Bosphorus through the Montreux Agreement, which was signed, I believe, in 1936. And so Ukraine began to pressure Turkey not to allow Russia to enter the Black Sea through the straits. Eventually, Turkey said, okay, we're going to use our powers through the Montreux Agreement. Turkey and Russia have had their rivalry in Syria, and this rivalry has escalated into outright bloodshed. And probably the highest point of this bloodshed was when the Russians and the Syrians slaughtered dozens of Turkish troops in Syria. This actually happened. Not a whole lot of people talked about this, but this actually happened. You can look this up. This happened. I want to say this happened back in February of 2020. So they're enemies, but they showed that they can be diplomatic. When this war started, what was one of the biggest topics? Russian oil and gas. Are we going to buy Russian energy? And the Europeans began to show this feigned piety. Oh, we're not going to buy the energy of these murderers, these Russian murderers, these damn Reds, these damn communist Reds. We're not going to buy their energy. Turkey showed complete indifference to this entire cacophony of outrage and protest. Turkey said, hell, we can become a hub for Russian energy. At the same time, Turkey will tell the Europeans, if you don't want to buy Russian energy, we can give you energy through Azerbaijan. And who is Azerbaijan's biggest ally? It's Turkey. Who is Turkey's biggest defender, biggest acolyte? It's Azerbaijan. So Turkey will act indifferent to Russia and will show willingness to buy stuff from Russia, be a hub for Russian energy, but at the same time, it will show its willingness to undermine Russia's leverage through energy by saying, we can give you energy through Azerbaijan. There was an interesting article, just to give you guys another point as to how Turkey has showed its willingness to buy Russia's stuff. There was an article that came out in the New York Times that said that basically as of October, since the beginning of this war, Turkey's purchasing of Russian products went up by, I think, 190% or 198%, basically 200% if you round it up. So Turkey shows its indifference to Russia by buying Russia's stuff, by saying we will become a hub for Russian energy, but at the same time we'll tell the Europeans, no, we can give you energy through our ally Azerbaijan. And then there is still this conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia, and Armenia is an ally to Russia. It's a part of Russia's security alliance, and Turkey backs Azerbaijan against Russia's ally. So there is this proxy war happening in the South Caucasus. There's a war happening in Syria. There's a rivalry between Russia and Turkey in Syria. This rivalry isn't just geopolitical. It's also religious. This is something that's very fascinating that almost nobody talks about. Turkey used to be the head of the Eastern Orthodox Church. And for a lot of people, it still is. What do I mean by that? Turkey wasn't always called Turkey. It only started being called Turkey at the end of the First World War. Before that, it was called Anatolia. And Constantinople was what Istanbul is today. It wasn't always called Istanbul. It was called Constantinople. Even by the Ottoman Empire, it was called Constantinople. And Constantinople had the Hagia Sophia, which was basically the Vatican of the Eastern Orthodox Church. It was the headquarters for the Eastern Orthodox Church. When Russia went from paganism to Eastern Orthodoxy, it didn't automatically have its own patriarchate. The Moscow Patriarchate didn't pop up once Russia became Christian. Russia, for a long time, was under the Constantinople Patriarchate until Constantinople allowed for it to have its own patriarchate. And what happened back in 2018? There was this formation. Basically, the church in Istanbul said the Ukrainians can be independent, fully independent from the Moscow Patriarchate. This pissed off the Russians, and the Russians basically said, whoever recognizes this independent Ukrainian church, we're done with you. We're severing ties from you. The Greeks said, oh, we recognize this Ukrainian Orthodox Church. The Russians said, we're done with you. The Egyptians said, oh, we recognize this Ukrainian Orthodox Church. The Russians said, we're done with you also. We're done with you. We're done with you. And the head of the person who is considered to be sort of the Pope, the patriarch of the Eastern Orthodox Church is Patriarch Bartholomew. And he's in Istanbul. And he's the one who said, oh, yes, allow the Ukrainians to have their own full independent Kiev Patriarchate, independent from Moscow. He's the one who said that. And the Russians said to Bartholomew, we're done with you. And there was a schism in the Eastern Orthodox Church. A lot of people don't talk about this, but it's 100% true. In 2018, there was a schism that commenced within the Eastern Orthodox world. It was a schism between those who are loyal to Bartholomew and those who are loyal to the Moscow Patriarchate. What's very interesting is that Bartholomew's allowing of the Ukrainians to be religiously independent from Moscow wasn't entirely his decision. It was not entirely his decision. He was not working in his own accord. He was working under the command of NATO. Because truly, the Turkish government wanted this independent Ukrainian Orthodox Church. Why? Because Turkey is in rivalry with Russia, not just geopolitically, but religiously. Turkey wants to say, oh, look, we have the headquarters of the entire Eastern Orthodox world within our own borders. Turkey wants to be the head of the Eastern Orthodox Church. And it's doing so through its proxy, Bartholomew. And I want to read to you guys an interesting quote from a Ukrainian politician. This is back from 2018. And this is from an article that was published by Modern Diplomacy. And again, this article comes from 2018. Just keep that in mind. And it says here, in an interview to BBC Ukraine, the leader of Crimean Tatars and a member of the Ukrainian parliament, Mustafa Dzhemilev, said that President Erdogan had confirmed his support in the process of granting autocephaly to the Ukrainian church. Quote, this is what Mr. Dzhemilev said. And he was with Erdogan. He was also with the president of Ukraine at that time, Mr. Poroshenko. And he said, I told him that today Moscow is like a Mecca for the Orthodox. But after the UOC, the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, becomes independent, Istanbul will take the place of Moscow. According to him, when he and Ukrainian President Poroshenko met with Erdogan on July 12, 2018, the Turkish leader assured that he would do everything possible for the Ukrainian autocephaly and said that he understood the importance of this issue for the Crimean Tatars. So this is why Erdogan, he'll play diplomacy with Russia because he has to. He can't just be in open conflict with Russia. But then at the same time, Erdogan will condemn Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And also, Erdogan refused to recognize Crimea as being a part of Russia. Who lives in Crimea? Tatars. Who are the Tatars? They're Turks. A lot of them are pro-Erdogan. During the Second World War, a lot of those Crimean Tatars were Nazi collaborators. A lot of them collaborated with the Nazis. There was a lot of Nazism amongst them back in the Second World War. So a lot of them hate Russia, and they wouldn't mind being under Turkey. So Erdogan wants to use the Crimean Tatars as a proxy against the Russians. At the same time, Erdogan wants to be in control over the Eastern Orthodox Church. Here's the thing, everybody. The Patriarch of Constantinople / Istanbul has been a puppet of Turkey since 1453. So people who say, yeah, the real headquarters of the Eastern Orthodox Church, yeah, it's in Turkey. So you're meaning to say that a puppet of Turkey is the head of your church. So you're saying that the Turkish government is the head of the Eastern Orthodox Church. That's what you're effectively saying. You may not even notice it, but that's what you are saying effectively. What happened in 1453? We all know, right? Everybody on this channel knows what happened in 53, okay? Everybody knows. It was the end of the Eastern Roman Empire. Ottomans came, crushed the city, took the king, cut his head off. There was a lot of rape that happened. There was a lot of slaughter that happened. There was a lot of enslavement that happened. And one of the things that took place amongst all of that horror and chaos was the emperor of the Ottoman Empire, Mr. Mehmet II, he declared himself Caesar. He said, I'm the head of the Roman Empire now. It's almost as if the Ottoman Empire just became a continuation of the Roman Empire. Very biblical. And Mehmet II put in place his own puppet, gave him a nice salary, and said, you are the head of the Eastern Orthodox Church. So when people say, oh, the Bartholomew, yes, he's the real head of the Eastern Orthodox Church. He's the real leader. You're saying that a person who is part of an institution that has been basically under Turkish influence since 1453 is the head of the Eastern Orthodox Church. That makes no sense. It really doesn't make any sense. Once Mehmet II took over Constantinople and put his own puppet patriarch, that was the beginning of Turkey's effort to control the Eastern Orthodox world. And that willingness, that effort, that agenda to control the Eastern Orthodox Church is still alive today. And so when the Russians severed ties with Bartholomew, the Russians basically were saying, we're done with this Orthodox Church that's controlled by the Turks. We're done with this Bartholomew, this puppet of the Turks. We're done with him. It's a schism. It's a schism between Russia and an institution that's controlled by the Turkish government. Not saying all Eastern Orthodox churches are controlled by the Turkish government. What I'm saying is that Bartholomew is a puppet of the Turks. And if you follow Bartholomew, you are following a puppet of the Turks. It's not just a war over territory. It's a war over religion. It's a war over who controls the church, who controls the Eastern Orthodox Church. Is it going to be Russia? Because let's not forget, the Russians call Moscow the Third Rome. Why? Well, Rome, the Catholic Church, got overtaken by Sodom. Let's be real here. Constantinople got taken by the Turks, and the Eastern Orthodox Church in Constantinople became a puppet of the Turkish regime. So what do you have left as far as prestige and power? What you have left is the Moscow Patriarchate. That's what you have left as far as ecclesiastical power goes, as far as a country that has muscle for the Eastern Orthodox world. It's Moscow. It's Russia. So it's not just a war over territory. It's a war over religion. It's a spiritual religious war. Anyway, you guys just heard some theology. God bless.